We have the latest on Hurricane Milton and its impacts to Florida. Plus, we take a look at our local weather and our 7-day forecast. Next, here at the Weather Farm. Good evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Christopher Hale here at the Weather Farm, serving Hendricks County and the surrounding areas with your local weather forecast. If you do like the content that we provide here at the Weather Farm, we do ask that you go ahead and click on the subscribe button below this, like this video, share it with your friends, let others know about the information you do receive here at the Weather Farm. By subscribing, you will be notified of when we post new content to our YouTube page. You'll also be notified when we go live during severe storms or during winter weather events. If you have a question for us here at the Weather Farm, drop that in the comments section as well, and we'll be happy to get back and answer those questions live in a future video. But let's take a look at what's going on here at the Weather Farm on this Sunday evening, where we currently have a temperature that sits at 62 degrees, dew points at 41. You've probably felt those dew points dropping throughout the day. When we woke up this morning, dew points were in those low 50s. They've steadily dropped throughout the day as that cold front has passed through central Indiana. We expect very dry air mass in place and pretty tranquil weather for the most part for the rest of this week. We do have winds out of the west-northwest at 13 miles per hour at this time. If we take a look around the region, we see the temperatures are generally in those low 60s as well. Crawfordsville, you're at 63. Rochdale, you're at 63. If we look up into Boone County, Lebanon, you're at 63. But just to your north and east out towards Gadsden, maybe 59. Whitestown, you're at 60. So those upper 50s are starting to pop onto the map. Danville, you're sitting at 61. Temperatures will generally fall into the mid 40s to low 50s across our area this evening. If we take a look at the Weather Farm about our Sunday, we've had a high temperature today at 78 degrees. Our low so far early this morning was 61. We may drop below that here in the next hour or so before midnight. Again, like a broken record, we've had no precipitation and only a trace for the month. On your Monday, October the 7th, the sun will rise at 7:48 a.m. and the sun will set at 7:17 p.m. Now, our big focus that everybody is talking about right now is Hurricane Milton and its impact upon Florida. And for those of you that are from central Indiana, and especially Hendricks County, if you're in the Tri-West, Northwest Hendricks School Corporation, you're on fall break this week, you may have taken a trip to Florida. So this information is very important for you as it will impact weather down there midweek. So let's just jump right into it here. We're going to take a look at what the National Hurricane Center has issued. We have 3 named storms, Kirk, Leslie, and of course in the Gulf there's Milton. Over the next 7 days, again, we're going to watch Kirk and Leslie. There's also going to be a small disturbance we're going to watch off the coast of Africa over the next few days. It's not expected to make much of an impact. Our main focus, again, is going to be right here on Hurricane Milton. You see a lot of precipitation out ahead of the storm, similar to what we had with Helene. If you remember, as Helene came through, it produced a lot of precipitation into Florida, into Georgia, into the Carolinas, well in advance of the actual hurricane's arrival. We see a similar pattern with Florida getting inundated with heavy amounts of rain early parts of the week before Milton arrives. Looking here at the GFS model, it's going to come off of the Yucatan Peninsula, and that's a good sign that it's going to have a little bit of interaction. It's not going to allow it to rapidly develop, but this GFS model actually wants to take it much farther north than the Tampa area. Right now, the GFS model does serve as an outlier in this situation, but we will continue to monitor this overnight because if that trend does continue, parts that were impacted by Hurricane Helene will need to stay watched. Again, we see some wind map estimates. Here's one right before landfall with the GFS model. Tampa, you're recording potentially an 87 mile per hour wind gust at that time. Another model we want to look at, and this one is where a lot of the other models are honing in on. It's again making that swoop across the Yucatan, but it's going right into Tampa Bay. This is the European model. It has it arriving a little bit faster as well into the early parts of Thursday morning or late Wednesday night. But again, It's that same pattern. And again, we look here, the wind gust, Tampa at 78, Sarasota at 80. This is kind of dangerous because if this model plays out, if you think about the cyclonic rotation of the storm, those waters will be pushed right into Tampa Bay. Another model we want to look at here is one, and I want you to pay attention to these numbers right here at the top above me. The pressure and the wind speed. So while most of this storm, as we see in this part of the video, it's out over open water, there it's brushing the coast of the Yucatan, it hits category 5 during that time, but as it approaches land, it weakens to a category 2. And this model here is where the National Hurricane Center has given the cone of uncertainty. Again, it's bringing that brush with the Yucatan, so hurricane watches, warnings have been issued there, and we see the spaghetti model here, where it's pulling most of the models through that Tampa I-4 corridor area. A few of them are hinting a little bit further north. It's something we will continue to watch here at the Weather Farm over the next 24 hours. Look for potentially another video from us again tomorrow. But here's something I wanted to mention. We're here at 0Z, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. So if we look 36 hours or 48 hours from now, so let's say Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, we see that is when the most intense winds throughout all the models are. But as it approaches land, that intensity drops. So if we look at a landfall of Wednesday night into early Thursday morning between hours 72 and 84, we see most of the models have dropped it out of the major hurricane status, category 3, category 4. Most of them are now centered in a category 2. And this was good news. But again, the location of where this hurricane will hit Florida will be important in terms of rainfall, in terms of storm surge, and if it does trend a little bit further north in those areas that have already been impacted by Hurricane Helene, that's something we need to watch about, because rescuers are going to have to, already are out there trying to make repairs from the last hurricane. Their work is going to get stopped as Hurricane Milton comes on shore. So we have to watch to see exactly where the path is, and we'll continue to get new model updates every 6 hours. We'll continue to refine our estimates here at the Weather Farm as well. So stay tuned over the next 72 hours for more information on that. And as I mentioned, like Hurricane Helene, this system is already spitting out a lot of moisture ahead of it. So if we look at the moisture output over the next 48 hours, we see over the Gulf 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. Also across that I-4 corridor, 2 to 3, 4 inches of rain as well. So the ground is going to become very saturated. Localized flooding will be occurring in these areas. And so then when the storm moves on shore later on Wednesday and Thursday, an additional 6, 8, even 10 inches of rain are possible from Hurricane Milton. So again, stay with us for the latest updates, and we will keep you posted as this storm continues to develop and continues to change. But then if we look at the rest of the United States, our main story is going to be Milton down here and what happens in Florida. Because if you look across the rest of the United States for the rest of this week, it's pretty calm weather. There's not really anything going on. As we mentioned in our video Friday night, most of the storm track system is going across the Canadian prairies and provinces. And then we have Hurricane Milton here making its way through the Gulf and now getting ready to impact Florida by as early as late Wednesday night, 10, 11 p.m. Eastern, or early Thursday morning. Again, that track will change. It will continue to develop, and as more and more data points come in, we will get more information on that. So let's take a look at our current weather here in Indiana. At the top of the hour, Indianapolis, you were sitting at 68. Lafayette, you were at 65. Terre Haute, 68. 70s were holding on to our south and east along the Ohio River. If we look to our north and west, we see temperatures have already dropped in the 50s. So you kind of get an idea that cold front is right here along the Ohio River. So those areas that were south, those are the mid-70s that we enjoyed here earlier today. And as that cooler air rushes in, that's why we expect temperatures to drop into the mid to upper 40s tonight. And again, as I mentioned before in another video, we looked at that dew point. Where is our dew point? Indianapolis, you were at 41, Lafayette 40. I don't think we get that cool tonight, but that is an indication of where our low temperatures can go. And again, looking south of the Ohio River here, we see dew points Louisville at 57, Elizabethtown, Kentucky 59, Lexington a dew point of 63. You get a clear idea of where that cold front is at this hour. So let's take a look at our temperatures over the next several days. We're going to start with our low temperatures tomorrow morning. Again, generally in those mid to upper 40s, Indianapolis at 54, Lafayette at 48, South Bend at 47. This was our Sunday map. Sorry about that, folks. This is an old map that's in here. We'll try to get that out for the next time. But again, we saw pretty much what this model predicted, 78 degrees. Looking at our Monday night, here we have a temperature of 47 in Lafayette, 47 down in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. So general widespread mid-40s for most of our area. Here's our Monday high temperature map for us. Again, those mid-60s across most of central Indiana. And we expect that pattern to continue into our Tuesday as well, with temperatures just warming a few degrees, maybe those upper 60s, which is just a couple degrees below our seasonal norms at this time of the year. I like to bring out this map. This is our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Again, above normal temperatures through the middle of October, but there is a hint that at the end of that period, there will be a change in that overall pattern. And again, precipitation over the next 8 to 14 days is expected to be below normal for this time of year. So let's take a look at our 7-day forecast here at the Weather Farm. As I mentioned, temperatures 67 tomorrow, 68 on Tuesday. Wednesday up to 71 before a slight pullback on Thursday and a warm up next weekend. But then it's the following week that we want to watch for a significant cool down. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode here at the Weather Farm. We hope to see you back soon.